Hello.
Hello.
This is the Father, Son, and the Holy Sisters podcast. Taking back the Holy Trinity. I'm Shyla.
I'm Sarah.
And we're sisters.
Yes, we are, if you can't tell.
We're starting a podcast for many reasons.
Very many.
We just want to talk about spooky,
scary, interesting,
cryptid, witchy,
spiritual.
Really anything under the umbrella of like spiritual or spooky.
Yes.
Or religions.
Yes.
You know, we want to talk about all sorts of stuff.
We're going to do like research into certain topics. We're going to take stories, like real life stories that have happened to people, like that we find on the internet or maybe
people we've met.
Yeah. Our
Reddit,
stories.
Reddit deep diving.
Yes. Our own stories. Maybe some famous stories about certain topics or even like certain real life people that are in the spiritual or scientific alien world, all of that fun stuff.
We may bring in some people that we know onto the podcast as well,
some
which
guest
is
stars.
Exciting.
Yes.
We are from the Midwest.
Yep.
I'm 25.
I'm 20.
And we met, we came out of the same
at my
womb.
birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came out of the same womb.
Yeah.
We got dads that are different, but we are sisters from the same lady, so.
That doesn't really, I don't see you any differently.
Right.
Than just
right. We're sisters.
Sister.
Yeah, we're not half sisters. We're
No.
sisters. Yeah. We're very open-minded
Yeah.
with religions, with beliefs, respectful of who people are and what their outlooks on life are.
What they want to believe, if they believe anything. It can be the craziest thing in the world that they believe, and I'm not going to diss on them.
Is there anything else we want in like kind of our intro at all? I'm a mom.
I'm not.
We're just here to have fun,
Yeah.
have some laughs, have some spooky stories, maybe get nightmares while we're talking about demons or something on our podcast.
Research in the dead of night when you shouldn't be, even though you do for some reason.
Yep, that was me last night.
Yeah,
that was wonderful.
I got scared of being outside last night when I let little Winnie out. Oh, I have a dog, a dachshund, a mini dachshund, Winnie. And then I also have a Siamese cat named Oma, Mama Kitty. She has a kind of like leukemia. It's not as severe, but it is fatal. So she's already old. She's 14 years old, estimated. I don't know how much life she has left, but I just want her to have a good rest of her life.
And I have a Boston Terrier, the same age as Winnie, her dachshund, and they're always best buds. So should we get into it?
Yeah.
This episode, we are talking about the origin of Halloween. Or Samhain.
Samhain?
I'm just kidding. We won't ever say that again. That's not how you pronounce it.
I'm so sorry. I was genuinely concerned that that's how you pronounced it. Who are you? No.
It's pronounced Samhain.
Samhain.
Samhain, the origin of Halloween. We're just going to kind of talk about where it came from, where it started, and kind of different traditions.
How it came to be what it is today.
Yep.
As Halloween.
So Sarah will start us out here.
Tradition of Samhain. It originated about 2,000 years ago in Northern Ireland, the United Kingdom, that general area where the Celtics resided.
That's what it is nowadays.
Yes.
Ireland, Northern France area.
Yes. But it originated there about 2,000 years ago. It was basically a time that the Celtic people would celebrate the end of summer and harvest time, and to kind of prepare for the coming winter. It was mainly just a big old celebration. One of the most significant of the 4 fire festivals of the time taken between the fall equinox and the winter solstice was Samhain.
Yeah, because pagans basically celebrated traditions around the solstices and equinoxes.
Yes.
So it was in between. It is a common belief that the veil is completely gone on Halloween, Samhain, but I believe, and some others believe, that that is just kind of when it's starting to thin, and it is thin, but Yule is actually where it is the thinnest.
Commonly known as Christmas time.
Commonly known as Christmas time. A bonfire was commemorated by the Druids to celebrate the festival and to offer sacrifices to the gods and goddesses.
Samhain is the 8th and last festival of the pagan Wheel of the Year, similar to New Year's Eve to the Celtics. And to honor those who came before you, the loved ones who've passed away, your ancestors. Gratitude is a big thing to practice during this time, to be grateful for what you have and what the past year has given you, to learn from things that you've received. And it's common to give gifts away to beloved people who have passed away, and set intentions for the coming year.
It starts at the end of October and then goes into November, and it's the first harvest moon in October, and then ends the first week of November. So the actual date, how it was calculated for Samhain 2,000 years ago, was the day in the middle of the autumn equinox and Yule. So it could change year by year depending on when those days happened too, and when the equinoxes happened, etc.
Did you know 1/4 of all the candy sold annually in the U.S. is purchased for Halloween? $36 billion a year, and $9 billion just on Halloween.
$9 billion.
I can't even...
Of candy.
I can't even, like
imagine how much just, $100 in candy is. I don't even buy $100 worth of candy for Halloween. And $9 billion just for Halloween. Candy.
I believe it, honestly. America goes crazy for Halloween.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we kind of are the ones that turned it into what it is today. So, And speaking of that, we're about to kind of go into how it was converted to a Christian holiday, as far as an All Souls Day, All Saints Day, and when it kind of turned from Celtic practices and beliefs to Roman.
On May 13th, 609 AD, Pope Boniface dedicated the Pantheon, which is a former Roman temple, to Rome in honor of all Christian martyrs. And the Catholic Feast of All Martyrs Day was established in the Western Church. Pope Gregory III later expanded the festival to include all saints as well as martyrs, and moved the observance from May 13th to November 1st. So November 1st became All Saints Day to celebrate the saints who have passed on before and the martyrs. That's where All Saints Day came from.
Saint or holy, sanctified,
Hallows.
Literally meant All Hallows Day.
Yes.
And then, of course, we just had to switch it. But anyways, by the 9th century, Christianity pretty much took over and adapted all of the Celtic rituals that they had, and the holidays, traditions, and everything. By 1000 AD, the church made November 2nd All Souls Day and twisted it from All Saints Day, which was a celebration of the saints and martyrs to honor the dead. At this point, the Celtic Druids were now considered devil worshippers, evil. The Celtics also gave offerings to the other world, and that's now considered hell. And this is when the pagans and the Celtics became witches, and all of their spirits became demonic entities, demonic souls, demons, etc. Irish immigrants brought it here, and that's when we basically turned it into what it is today, which is kind of crazy, how America and people here can completely change one thing and one tradition and turn it into something evil
Yeah.
And, I mean, we're going to touch on a lot of other traditions other than Samhain and how it was switched around, like Christmas, how
Yule.
people believe that was Jesus' birthday and that scientifically was not when he
No.
would have been born.
Yes. So another important thing to me is teaching or, getting out there the origins of Western holidays and finding out the root of where they began
Right.
and shedding light on those people who practiced it and whose practice was taken from them and turned into something
Twisted
evil
around.
and
Yeah.
witchcraft, and just to shed light on that and the church
Back
and
in the day.
everything. Yeah,
When they wanted
Yeah.
to make all pagans and their
Right.
traditions into evil.
right. Like the Druids would have to, for like Norse mythology, for example, they would have to basically create their beliefs and religion into a fairy tale. That's why Norse mythology is so like fairy tale feeling, because
Yeah.
they had to literally make it a fairy tale and not something that they truly believed, just to protect themselves from the people who invaded them.
Right. And just the fact that a lot of things didn't make sense to people when the Irish settlers came over here, like the other world and how they gave offerings to the other world, etc. And since that didn't make sense to them, that was scary to them. And they
Right.
wanted it to be turned into something that they could make sense because,
Right.
oh, that's a good idea. We should do that, but turn it into our own thing because they're scared. They don't know anything other than that. That's why a lot of times people in general, especially the older generation, if it's something new to them, like new communities that are coming out and new people like expressing who they are, they're scared of that because it's not
Right.
something they're used to.
Yeah, humanity is very fearful of
Yeah.
the unknown, something that they're not exposed to. And yeah, you get people that...
Fear of the unknown.
Yes. If you guys watch Over the Garden Wall, which is a perfect fall Halloween short miniseries, it's an animated
I'll have to
series.
actually watch it.
It literally is like my favorite miniseries, animated series. Like, the unknown is a place where they venture into.
Right.
So yeah.
And also, speaking to like series, shout out to
Two
Girls. I was about to say TGOG.
People might not know.
Shout out to Two Girls, One Ghost.
Yeah.
We love you guys. Also, I don't know if you've listened to Morbid. I've been listening to them lately too.
Morbid?
Yeah. TGOG came out with an episode with them, and I kind of looked into them, and they're kind of like, obviously every podcast is different, but they're kind of similar in that way. And they came out with an episode talking about hauntings, like local hauntings in their hometowns and stuff. So I started listening to them too. But we have been wanting to start a podcast for years. Like we had been talking about it for years, just because we have cool views. We like to conversate about things and share things.
Yep.
And when we started listening, and she suggested me to Two Girls, One Ghost. And I started listening, and I'm just like, oh my God, like we need to talk about our beliefs too, and we need to put it out there. Who knows? Maybe other people feel the same, and they
Right.
will
Find
feel
a
connected.
sense of community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Two Girls, One Ghost talk a lot about ghost stories and like demonic possession and like under the umbrella of like spooky and cryptid, barefoot, all that.
Barefoot?
Bigfoot, and all stuff like that. I was thinking of some wine, I guess.
Grin.
Wine.
Yeah. gonna marry Bigfoot one
Corinne's
day.
gonna marry Bigfoot. But anyways, like they just are so fun to listen to.
They're just
And-
always make me smile.
Yeah. So shout out to them.
Yes.
Would
I
love
listen to you guys
do-
at work every day.
Yeah. And I love that you guys started doing YouTube, but we would love to
Yeah.
like co-star with you guys or something one day. That would be a
literally
dream.
a dream come true.
And
I
we'll
will
wear
lose my-
some of their little ghost sweater merch someday. We'll have to get some.
Yes.
But I mean, we'll incorporate also like some ghost stories like they do too.
Yes.
So that will be fun to do, especially our own encounters that we've had with ghosts.
Those are gonna be interesting.
I've had
for,
quite
to
a
say
lot,
the least.
so.
Yeah. Yeah. You have
Seriously, like, everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Yes. You're, like, wearing black and then your kitty hair gets, like, everywhere. You're about to be just wearing kitty.
I do every day. It's not a day. It's it's not a full day unless I'm covered in animal hair. That's not a way to start my day unless I'm covered in animal hair.
It's a good thing to be covered in, I guess.
I mean, I carry a little piece of them throughout my day.
Right?
I'm a goofy goober, yeah. You're a goofy goober. So traditions. Here are some common traditions that you can do around Samhain, or that people who've done it in the past, or not do if you don't want to. Right. So a dumb supper. A supper in silence with a place set at the head of the table for your ancestors. Food and drink is served, like you serve food for them. And afterwards, you
at like a place on the table.
Right. At the table, you actually serve food to your ancestors. It's an offering. And then after you take it to the woods, that's how you dispose of it, bring it back into nature. But this is a good thing to do to honor your ancestors and all of those that you loved that have passed away. Yeah.
So if your great Grammy's favorite dish was...
Yes. Pickled herring.
Yeah.
Make some pickled herring and set it out for them. And
green bean casserole.
Yes, that would be mine.
Set it out for them. Just make it just for them.
Yes. Yeah. Or, an array of foods that they liked.
Yeah.
And be conscious.
Drink.
Yes.
If great Grammy liked her wine. Yes. Or great Grampy liked his beer.
Or their Baileys,
Mm-hmm. Or just coffee, water, whatever.
Whatever. And be be conscious if they had certain foods that they didn't eat. Not to
if they were gluten-free.
Right, not to include that in your dumb supper, and just really just focus on the food and the love that came with it, that maybe they made for you and your family when they were alive, and
put some love into it.
Yes.
Don't just
make
McDonald's
it to make
or
it.
Something.
Right. Set an intention of gratitude and love and remembrance of them and their soul. Yeah. And they will be there to accept it, and they'll be grateful. And
especially since the veil is thinner around this time of year. Or write them a little note.
Write them a note.
Put it on the plate.
Yeah. Talk to them.
There was a lot of fear, especially when it came to America. Once it was passed down that it was pagans and that pagans were witches. That's why rural folk did run inside on Halloween, especially at night once it got dark, because they didn't want to see the witches flying around and put a spell on them or something.
Turn them into a toad.
Right. I wouldn't want to be turned into a toad if I mean maybe.
I think it'd be pretty cool,
fun for like a night.
Lie. Like, I love toads and frogs.
I don't like toads and frogs, so maybe not.
I love them. They're like outside my door all the time.
I'd be turned into like a fish.
That would be cool. A bird?
No.
Sign me up, bitch.
A crow? I would love to be a crow. They're so smart.
Ooh, yes. Okay, so
moving on to the traditions.
Another tradition is fortune telling. Those with the second sight, any of the clairs, psychic abilities, were sought out on this night. People went to find people who had these gifts. One method was to prick an egg and let it drip into a cup of clear liquid, and read the shapes, kind of like a crystal ball, kind of like scrying. Another thing, kind of interesting little fact, I guess, where apples were said to be the fruit of the other world. So the whole dunking for apples tradition was to tell if someone was going to have a good fortune for the coming year. Though it is not known for certain how this tradition started, it's believed that Romans brought it with them to worship Pomona, the goddess of fruit trees, orchards, gardens. So they brought that to the British Isles, and that is what is thought to have originated from dunking for apples. And
I did that once. I think it was like some church thing I did as a kid, like a Halloween get-together thing, and I remember bobbing for apples.
Really?
Before. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever bobbed for apples.
I think it was one time.
Mainly because
no. It was at the county fair in town.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was at
oh
the county
my
fair in town
gosh,
they
I
had
didn't know
it.
they did that.
Yeah.
But I have never bought for apples, mainly because I can't I can't blow out of my nose when I'm underwater.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
I've literally tried, like, when I'm washing my
Like,
face,
you can't, like,
and, like, no, I don't
blow-
know if I have nasal issues or what. Another fortune teller method was to peel an apple in one piece and throw it over your shoulder, and it was said to be the shape of an initial of the person you're gonna marry. So,
Oh my God.
also eating an apple in front of a mirror while combing your hair would conjure the image of your true love in the mirror. God, maybe I should do that because, I'm waiting for my true love. But
And I'm married, so
Yeah,
and like, do you have
but
to do
it's
it in the
showtime.
dark,
I don't know. It's best
or
to
is it
do-
like a just kind of mind game
Well-
thing? Like, I'm married. If I comb my hair and eat an apple while in front of a mirror, like, obviously, I feel like I'd be like, oh, my husband Tom,
Right.
Look at him.
I mean, I guess it's what you put
or
out
like
there.
you, who doesn't have a lover right now, like.
Right. Who
would
it
you see?
Show someone?
Would be
And,
someone
like-
you saw recently that you thought was cute, or like something like that. Like, what would happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to get
But
back to you guys.
Yes,
and see
we
if anything
will.
happens.
I do know that scrying or looking into a reflection and getting an image back, for whatever your intention is best. Like, if you're doing it in a mirror, it's best done in the dark with only
Yeah.
like one little light source in front of you. Well, for
Right.
anything,
or just like
one
a little
light
tea
source.
candle, maybe,
right.
or something.
That's what I do with my crystal ball. If I scry, I just have like a little tea light candle and then the ball like over there, just to have one like small source of light.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that's very
That's
interesting,
kinda
and
cool.
I should try it out and see if
Yeah.
I have a love in my future.
So, the next tradition is about jack-o'-lanterns, and this part's kind of long. It's kind of the story behind it, the Irish folktale of it, and this came from irishcentral.com, so I'm just kind of read through what it says about him. So, as the tale goes, a man called Stingy Jack invited the devil for a drink, and Jack, when I was reading up on him, Jack was Stingy Jack was like a kind of an asshole. He was a trickster.
Stingy.
He like played pranks, but not really nice pranks on people in the town and stuff. So yeah, he was just a stingy guy.
Which it kind of reminds me of like a Loki figure, like in
Yeah.
Norse mythology.
Yeah.
You honestly, looking and researching about different religions, you find so many similarities
And connections
between them, and there's like
Yeah,
always just certain like
connections between different
Yeah.
deities and different.
yes.
Yeah. So anyways, Stingy Jack invited the devil for a drink and convinced him to shapeshift into a coin to pay for his drinks. When the devil obliged, Jack decided he wanted the coin for other purposes and kept it in his pocket alongside a small silver cross to prevent it from turning back into the devil. Jack eventually freed the devil under the condition that he wouldn't bother Jack for 1 year, and he wouldn't claim Jack's soul once he died. The next year, Jack tricked the devil once more by convincing him to climb up a tree to fetch a piece of fruit.
Jack.
Convincing the devil, tricking the devil.
You're playing a dangerous game.
When he was up in the tree, Jack carved a cross into the trunk so the devil couldn't come down until he swore he wouldn't bother Stingy Jack for another 10 years. So first 1 year, now he wants 10 years.
He is
stingy.
yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
So when Jack died, God wouldn't allow him into heaven, and the devil wouldn't allow him into hell either. Even the devil didn't like Stingy Jack.
It's like, you were rude to me, bro. I don't
Right.
want you in my kingdom.
You tricked the ultimate trickster.
Right.
So he was instead sent into the eternal night with a burning coal inside a carved out turnip to light his way. He's been roaming the earth ever since. The Irish began to refer to the spooky figure of Jack of the Lantern, which then became Jack-o'-lantern. This legend is why people in Ireland and Scotland began to make their own versions of Jack's lantern by carving grotesque faces into turnips, potatoes, and beets. Placing
You heard it here first, folks. It wasn't a pumpkin. Imagine carving a beet. Or
well,
a
if you think
turnip.
about it, they probably didn't have like fields of pumpkins back then.
No, right. They had to use what they had.
Right,
You know?
turnips, potatoes, etc.
Crazy. I love that so much.
Yeah. And then so they would basically put the grotesque faces on the turnips, potatoes, beets, etc. And they would place them beside their homes to frighten away Stingy Jack and other wandering evil spirits and travelers. So they would light them up too. Once this became a Halloween tradition, jack-o'-lanterns were used as guides for people dressed in Halloween costumes. So when the Irish and Scots immigrated to America, bringing the tradition with them, they found that pumpkins, native to America, made perfect fruits for carving. Pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns have been an integral part of Halloween festivities, whatever, ever since then.
Wow.
So, literally, jack-o'-lanterns came from Stingy Jack.
That's amazing. Is he still in purgatory?
Like what? Wait, is he actually? Like, if God was like, I'm not having you here, and the devil was like, I'm not having you here.
I mean, probably.
I mean, I don't believe in heaven and hell.
No.
But, like...
What if he's roaming around in
if
the
it
afterlife,
was,
though?
yeah, is he just roaming around still? Like,
what if you can, like... Oh, that would be a
summon
bad
him?
idea. Yeah, and put him into your jack-o'-lantern, into your pumpkin.
No, we won't want to.
No.
We won't want to do that because then he'd
No.
come back.
He'd be
And then
a
God
trickster,
would probably be
too.
like, or the devil.
He would, like,
but maybe the devil
steal your food
yeah,
and, like, your money and, like,
play
try and
pranks on
trick
the neighborhood.
You. Yeah. Stingy Jack, we're not falling for that.
You trickster, you. We are
trickster.
not. Yeah, that's not a thing.
Tricks are for kids.
No. That's kind of cool. Like,
that is really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've never looked up
Beets and
jack-o'-lanterns.
potatoes. That will just
Right.
blow my mind
Turnips
forever.
And okay, when I was researching this part, you have to Google turnip jack-o'-lanterns. Look it up right now. Just Google it really quick. It is the creepiest thing I have ever seen in my life. It literally looks like a turnip, or it looks like one of those things from Harry Potter, the mandrakes. It looks like a mandrake from Harry Potter,
Oh my
but
God.
creepier.
What the-
People were carving those and putting them at like their front door, their front step of their house.
Should we carve turnips and stuff this year? Should we?
Oh my god.
Should we do that?
Oh my
We'll have to do
god. We should. Do they sell turnips at like Walmart, Target? I guess I've never bought a
Sure.
turnip before,
I mean, we can
so
go
I don't
out
know.
to Mom's Co-op.
Oh
too.
yeah. Oh my god.
Dude, now I'm chilly. She just left my
I
lap.
know. Kitty was like, I'm gonna come hang with Shyla
No,
now.
that's good. She needs some love. Wow, that's really interesting. We're
Yeah.
gonna have to find some turnips to carve. We should make them as creepy as we can possibly make them.
And we'll post them on our Instagram
Yes,
too.
we will.
Father, Son, and it's
Holy-
Father, Son,
Son,
Holy
Holy
Sisters
Sisters.
is the Instagram handle, I think.
Yes.
And our email, if anyone wants to email any
Send their
stories or any suggestions for our podcast, it's fathersonholysisters@gmail.com.
Right. So know the
Yep. No.
Father,
the.
Son, Holy Sisters.
Yep. But our podcast is
Yes. it
Father,
does have
Son, and the Holy
The.
Sisters, and the
And
Holy
the.
Sisters. But anyways,
Yes. So, continuing with rituals. Many of the pagan rituals involve disguising oneself to avert evil or perform rituals of protection from the dead and otherworldly. It's said that an ancient ritual was to circle a bonfire with skulls of their ancestors who would protect them from evil, which is where the modern day costumes and pumpkin carvings come from. The candle is to give an eerie look. Children would go door to door singing for treats. So, I wonder where trick or treat came from.
Right.
They were rewarded. If they weren't rewarded, they would resort to tricks. So,
literally,
I wonder where
trick
trick
or
or treat
treat.
came from. Yeah.
So if I knock on someone's door and they're like, "You're too old for treats," should I play a trick on them?
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm above that. I would never do that.
Are you though?
I guess we'll never know.
We'll have to try it out.
But we're gonna kind of go into some common practices that you can do in modern time and what you can do now, and little things that we do. Like I said, opening the windows and letting fresh air in. That's like
Cleanse that air.
a big thing for me this time of year.
Yes.
Cleansing your house out.
Yes. So, one thing is to have a candle or a few in your windowsill. And it doesn't necessarily have to be fire. It could be an electrical candle for
especially
safety.
on a windy day. You don't want to have like a fire.
Right. That might
fire
not be
windowsill.
a good situation.
But
just going to move you over here. That is basically to light a path for the loved ones who have passed away. To let them know that, hey, I'm here. I love you, and
here's the way home.
Come, I welcome you. Yeah, here's the way home.
I love that.
Me too. I really do love that. I'm
gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to get some like electric tea lights, obviously, because I had a best friend that passed away, and I feel like that would be a good thing, because I know he still watches after me.
Yeah, he does.
Be kind of a good thing. I mean, he's not an ancestor, but I view him as someone very important, and that was tied to me in very different ways. So, I love you, Matt.
And then today is also Grandpa's death day that he died 3 years ago, and I can't believe it's been 3 years already.
And something we didn't mention.
Yes.
His funeral
was on Halloween. So how more perfect can that be?
Like, literally, his funeral was on Halloween day, and I remember it was not sunny at all.
No.
It was like overcast clouds all the way, so it was like a darker, you know, like that dark feeling of a day, but it wasn't in a bad way. No. It was like a way of like, I guess, I don't know. I view funerals like, I feel like it more should be like a celebration of life and not really like a bad day of their death, you know? Mean,
it's a good
that day was good.
Yeah.
It was a good day, you know, with our family, and we walked out, and there wasn't snow on the ground yet here where we are.
Right. Which can be common in Minnesota.
Yep. But I remember thinking, like, Grandma, you're putting his funeral on Halloween.
She didn't even realize it, though.
Yeah, she didn't realize it. That's why I'm like, Grandma.
It literally was perfect. The literal holiday that we celebrate our loved ones, our ancestors, those who have passed. He was buried on that day, and that will always be special.
And appreciating him that day. Yes. I don't know, it was just crazy.
It was really crazy. Another practice is to invite friends over for a harvesting meal. Yeah. Bring pictures of the loved ones who have passed away, and share your stories of these people with one another. And
we should do that.
You know,
some friends.
Bring light to their lives and the energy, because stories hold energy, and gift that to the people around you.
They hold so much emotion, happy emotion, memories, and sharing them with others, maybe that didn't even know them.
Right.
You can see your face light up, like telling like your favorite story about Grandpa or whatever.
That's
like
so special. And like we were talking about earlier, for dumb suppers, you can also cook their favorite meals for them, and
or kind of like a potluck, have everyone bring like their ancestors' favorite meal, or just it could be your meal if you don't remember or don't know their specific favorite meal,
or you can leave them offerings if you don't know a specific meal. You could still just set out something for them, or something that was important to them, or that reminds you of them.
That one I already mentioned. You could also take a walk in nature. That's one big thing that we specifically like to do. There's one park in the town that we live in that just always has really good energy and really good vibes, and especially around this time of year when the leaves are changing or some are on the ground already. Like, it's the energy of taking a walk in that, and then just like also thanking the earth for everything that they gave you this past year, because like we said before, it is the new year for Celtics. So just kind of, the darkness coming and the light coming to an end, and harvest and everything, and just kind of reflect on everything that has been good this past year, and even reflect on like the bad things, and maybe just like take those bad things and like release them into nature, and kind of preparing for like winter coming if you do live in a climate that does have winter, unfortunately, like us, where it gets like negative 40 degrees some years. in Minnesota. It's kind of crazy, but that's like a good thing to prepare for the coming of winter and time of sleep, especially for a lot of animals, time and then like death and endings, obviously, which is this time of year. Another thing you can do, which we did this
yes,
when we made our vision boards, is doing a simmer pot.
And vision boards are like a collection of images that are from a statement of something that you want to manifest or focus on in the coming year. So this is like perfect correlation and timing of one another.
Yeah. But simmer pot this time of year, you could do like obviously apple, cinnamon, cloves, or you could also just kind of Google like spices that set intentions or spices for like ending things or new beginnings, etc.
Yeah.
And then obviously pumpkin carvings, which is still a big thing for today.
And you can also do things that are, you know, you might have done in past years, certain traditions with family, like watching scary movies or you know, just certain things specific to you and your own experiences with the loved ones around you.
Now we're gonna tell some murders that happened on Halloween. On the actual day of Halloween.
Can you imagine like getting the news that your loved one was killed on Halloween?
Oh my god.
That would just be so sad.
I know for a fact that Halloween's like one of my favorite holidays, and if someone killed me on Halloween, I'd be haunting their ass forever.
Poltergeist style. Yeah.
Murders on Halloween.
Okay, so the victims of this particular murder on Halloween were Leslie Mazzara and Adrian Insogna.
Sorry if we pronounce anything wrong.
I'm deeply
We don't mean
apologize. In 2004, Napa, California locals Lauren Mienza and Adrian Insogna shared a 2-story house on Dorset Street in Napa, California, together, and later brought on another roommate, South Carolina beauty queen Leslie Mazzara. Beauty queen. She'd recently moved to the area to be closer to her mother. Lauren
We can just say first names to make it easier. Yeah. So the two that were murdered are Leslie and Adrian. And then the third was just a roommate.
A roommate, Lauren. She was the roommate. So Lauren coached volleyball at a local community college, and Adrian worked as an engineer for the Napa Sanitation District. Leslie got a job as a greeter at a winery owned by director Francis Ford Coppola, I think. The three roommates spent Halloween night passing out candy to neighborhood kids before turning in at around 10:30. Adrian and Leslie went to their rooms upstairs, and Lauren went to her room on the ground floor. At 1 a.m., Lauren...
So the two that were murdered were on the top floor?
Top floor.
And the
Lauren
bottom floor was
on the
room.
ground floor.
Okay.
Yes. At around 1 a.m., Lauren awoke to the sound of a struggle and screaming coming from upstairs. Terrified, she hid in the backyard before hearing someone running down the stairwell and exiting out the downstairs window. Oh my god. After she was sure the intruder was gone, Lauren rushed upstairs to find her roommates had been viciously and repeatedly stabbed. Leslie had already died, and Adrian was just barely clinging to life. Yeah. Can you imagine
being woken up in the middle of the night from screaming?
Like, I can't imagine this situation.
And then your roommates are dead.
Yeah. And just, what would you do in that moment? Like,
viciously stabbed.
You run away, and then you come back once you think it's safe, and you find the two people you were living with were stabbed viciously. Like, I can't even, I don't even want to.
And you thought that it was just like an intruder.
Right.
Like,
no, they
no
were
big deal.
Murdered. Okay. Afraid the killer might return, Lauren fled from the house and dialed 911. But
while Adrian was clinging for life, she just ran off.
To me. That's not a good thing to do.
Yeah, excuse me. I would not run off if you were stabbed.
No,
I would stay with
a
you.
person who is literally dying.
What if
from a
911 could
stab
tell me how to
wound?
save you?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They actually can try and tell you how to make a situation better.
Yeah, over
while
the
a whole
phone.
another person is making their way. So if you think they're
Right.
wasting your time by talking to you, no, they've already dispatched an ambulance. Anyways, so she fled and dialed 911, but Adrian had died from her wounds before they could get to her. You know, probably because Lauren fled the scene and then called 911.
We're not blaming, though.
No.
She could have died anyways, you know?
Yeah,
You don't know
I mean,
what would have
she was
happened.
clinging to life, but
And realistically, as Lauren, like, I'd be scared shitless, too.
yeah, I wouldn't know what to do. I mean, self-preservation. She was trying to, you know, stay alive.
Maybe,
so she
I guess,
fled.
yeah, maybe she did think that the person would come back.
Right. And you
Maybe
don't know.
the person would have thought, oh my god, what if that person saw me? And, like, what if he's gonna come back and
Right.
kill me, too?
Right.
Like, I guess you don't know the situation.
Right, and you never know what you're going to do in that situation
Yeah.
until, God forbid, you're in a situation like that. So, detectives arriving on the scene began piecing together the likely sequence of events that Leslie had been attacked first, and after awakening to hear her crying out, Adrian had engaged in a vicious fight with the killer.
That would make sense.
That would make sense.
Adrian heard Leslie being killed
Yeah.
because they're on the same floor, so she went to go see.
And Adrian was very brave.
Yeah.
She did, like,
Try to fight him
don't
off or
even know
something.
if I could do that. Like, I would just be so terrified.
I would just stand there probably, and honestly, if
Yeah.
I saw someone stabbing someone else, unless it was you, I'd probably just run.
Yeah, I
'cause-
would literally fight to the death to save you.
Yeah.
And
Me
my
too.
family.
Yeah.
So, Adrian had engaged in a vicious fight with the killer. Though she was ultimately overpowered, detectives discovered blood belonging to the intruder on the scene. Big deal, big deal.
So she did get him.
Yes, she fought back and she got them evidence,
Yeah.
crucial evidence. Adrian had succeeded in injuring him before he made his escape. Several cigarette butts, presumably left by the killer, were also found outside the house. So
Dang,
this
he's a
killer is
dumb
smoker,
murderer.
I
Yeah.
guess.
But he just leaves his
Yeah,
cigarette butts?
What? He obviously wasn't very smart then.
Right. I
Why
feel
would
like.
you do that?
I mean,
You can't guess the inside
yeah.
of a killer's mind.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I don't know. So that was the backstory and basically what happened. So moving on, the actual case, what followed. The murders of the two women shocked the quiet community, obviously. Leading residents to begin bolting their doors at night. Suspicion almost immediately began to surround several men who were said to have dated and been dating Leslie Mazzara, including Brian West, who'd rather bizarrely built a tribute website to her after breaking up with her. Okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, after breaking up with her, like, tribute to their relationship, or after she died?
Doesn't say.
It sounds like he made, like, a website
Yeah.
to, like, bash her after they broke up or something. I guess that would be a
Could be,
reason
yeah.
to be a suspect. Anyways.
So yeah. There was also an ex-boyfriend, William Yee. Wait,
Wait, is that actually the last name?
No.
Oh.
I mixed up he has two
Oh.
names. Why do you gotta get three names, bro? Anyways, William Lee Youngblood. Youngblood. Sorry. So sorry, bro. William Lee Youngblood.
It's like 10 o'clock where we are. So
Yeah.
we're low. Anyways.
And it's been a long day, goddamn. Anyways, so there's who Leslie had broken up with shortly after moving to Napa, and
Broke up with William Yee. right? That's who we're talking about.
William Lee.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
William Lee Youngblood.
William Yeehaw Youngblood.
Youngblood. Oh my god. Okay.
So she had recently broken up with him before moving to Napa. And whose father, strangely, still called her on a regular basis and seemed to have become obsessed with her. Like,
Wait, the father?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I guess that's reason to be suspect.
Mm-hmm. All right. However, the search finally ended 11 months later when police released more information that was strategically withheld before on the cigarette butts found at the scene of the crime.
Of course.
Yeah, right.
Strategic.
Yeah. Camel Turkish Gold was his flavor, I guess. So, a new and relatively rare brand. Within 2 days, Eric Koppel, the then fiance and now husband of Lily Prudhomme, a close friend of Adrian's, sent letters to his parents admitting to the murders and voicing the desire to kill himself.
So he sent letters
Big
to the
lead.
parents, and then the parents
Yes.
sent him in.
Yes. So his family convinced Eric to turn himself in. What a good move for the family, and not trying to
Right, hide him or flee him to a different country or something.
Like, imagine hearing that from your son.
Because they're in California. They could have, like, ran and fled to Mexico or something.
Yeah.
Dang.
So, yeah, good on the family for doing that. However hard it must have been.
Yeah.
His family convinced Eric to turn himself in, and when interviewed by the police, he told them that though he could hardly recall committing the murders, he'd had a bitter fight with Lily on Halloween, the day before their wedding. Yeah. Can you imagine getting married the day before Halloween?
Yeah, but also went and murdered people.
Right. Like, what? He felt that her relationship with Adrian was somehow negatively affecting her commitment to him. Obsessively afraid of losing his fiance.
Because Lily was family friends with Adrian.
Right.
Right?
Right, and they were close.
And he was probably jealous of their relationship or something.
Yes. So he'd concluded that to salvage their relationship, Adrian needed to die. He could not account for why he killed Leslie. Because Leslie was killed first. So
they assumed.
Right.
I mean, maybe he stabbed Adrian in a different way that didn't kill her right away, and maybe Leslie walked in after. I mean, it doesn't say for sure.
Depending on the crime scene analytics that they got, it depends. Like, how would you know? I'm sure there was a way to figure out who died first or who.
But if they were stabbed viciously,
right?
There's probably blood all over and everything too. So maybe it was just too messy to try and figure out which was killed first. Because it wouldn't make sense if he went in and killed Leslie first. I mean, maybe because did it say he went in the window? I think right.
He left
exiting the downstairs window. Yeah. So maybe he like walked in the wrong room. And like,
seen an
and she like woke up
to kill her.
Yeah,
to keep her quiet.
Yeah,
and since Lauren was on only the first floor, he might not have realized she was even there.
Right. Yeah,
that could have saved her.
He probably didn't know.
Right. He later pleaded guilty to avoid a lengthy trial and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thank God.
Hell yeah.
So
no parole for you, Mr. Eric.
No, people who have killed people should not have parole.
No.
The possibility of parole.
Unless it was like self-defense, obviously.
Right. I mean,
but if you just went in and killed someone because you think their relationship with your fiance isn't good and it would salvage your relationship to get married, well, guess what?
Life in prison.
Now you can't spend time with your wife that you killed Adrian for.
Do you really think she would have wanted to spend time with you more?
Oh my gosh. They were family friends.
Literally.
And it said now married.
Yeah.
Now husband.
Well,
the
she
then
probably
fiance,
didn't
now
know.
husband of Lily Prudhomme. Well, it says now.
Well, yeah, but they could have gotten married after.
Well, I guess
the
it was
fact.
11 months later, it said.
Right.
So he went and killed
went
people on
almost
Halloween.
A whole year.
He went and killed people on Halloween, and then November 1st, the very next day, he went and got married. Mm-hmm. Imagine murdering 2 people, and then, oh my god, that's crazy.
And not knowing the person you married killed 2 people
the night before, and probably getting down and dirty with them, and you just got down and dirty with a murderer that killed your best friend, family friend.
Literally.
Oh my gosh, that's
so
crazy.
Messed up.
Okay.
God. So that was the murder of Leslie and Adrian.
On Halloween
in 2004.
Yep. And so another one I'm reading was in 1974. The murder of Timothy O'Brien. I'm just going to say right now, trigger warning to this story. Because this is kind of a lot. This was in Deer Park, Texas. Ronald O'Brien was a seemingly normal family man who'd recently fallen on tough financial times. He'd gone delinquent on a number of loans and had recently been forced to sell the family home in order to try and pay them off. Strangely, however, he'd started telling several friends that he was expecting to come into money by the end of the year, and that would improve his financial situation. Around the same time, Ronald increased the life insurance policies on Timothy, who's 8, and Elizabeth, 5, his 2 young children. And by October 1st, through his job at Texas State Optical, oh my god, is this going to be about him murdering his own child?
Sure hope not.
And by October 1974, they were up to $30,000 apiece in the life insurance policy. He also began trying to obtain cyanide, first through his job at Texas State Optical, and later at the Curtin Matheson Scientific Company in Houston. After being told they only sold the deadly poison in large quantities, a salesperson directed him to where he could buy a more minimal amount. On Halloween night, O'Brien, his wife, and his 2 children went to dinner at home. Oh my god.
Please no. There's some evil people in this world.
He got life insurance policies on his kids.
Yeah.
On Halloween night, O'Brien, his wife, and his 2 children went to dinner at the home of the Bates family in a nearby town, after which they planned to take the kids trick-or-treating. O'Brien offered the company of the children, and Mr. Bates volunteered to go along too, along with his 2 children and another adult and child from the neighborhood. During the trick-or-treating expedition, O'Brien at one point produced 5 pixie sticks he said he'd acquired from one of the neighbors and later distributed them among his children and the Bates 2 children, as well as one other neighborhood child who came trick-or-treating at the door. After arriving home, O'Brien told Timothy and Elizabeth they could have 1 piece of candy before they went to bed, and allegedly urged them to choose the pixie sticks. Only Timothy ate the candy, and as he swallowed, he complained about its bitter taste. Oh, O'Brien gave his son Kool-Aid to wash it down. Just wash down the cyanide with Kool-Aid. And soon thereafter, Timothy began vomiting uncontrollably and went into convulsions. He died soon after arriving at the hospital, and cyanide was discovered in his blood and stomach fluids. Luckily, none of the other children who were given the pixie sticks had consumed them. Directly following the horrible event, police began searching for who allegedly gave Mr. O'Brien the deadly candy. So they just knew that it was him, I guess, yeah, because he was handing out the pixie sticks. Yeah. Everyone knew. O'Brien claimed it was someone at the home of the Melvin family who had opened the door. So he's blaming someone else. Of course. Who had opened the door to their dark house only a crack and produced the pixie sticks. However, Mr. Melvin was able to produce an alibi, and he was cleared of suspicion. After surveying other households in the neighborhood to see who may have purchased pixie sticks, it was discovered that none of the other neighbors had bought that particular brand of candy. A few days after Timothy's burial, the police received a call from O'Brien's insurance company to report that O'Brien had attempted to take out the life insurance policies on his 2 children without consulting his wife, and O'Brien immediately became the prime suspect. Yeah, thank God. After questioning O'Brien's coworkers at Texas Optical, it was discovered that he had been asking around for cyanide in the months leading up to Timothy's death. Police then searched the O'Brien family home and discovered a pocket knife on which traces of plastic and powdered candy were found. O'Brien was quickly charged with Timothy's murder and put on trial, where it was alleged that he had distributed the cyanide-laced pixie sticks to the rest of the children in an attempt to use the frequently circulated urban legend of poisoned Halloween candy as a cover for his crimes. In May 1975, he was found guilty and nearly 9 years later executed via lethal injection. And did you know he's now known as the man who ruined Halloween?
Wow.
He's known as the Candyman.
Wow.
And I don't know if it was about him or not, but there's 2 Candyman movies.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen them?
No. I
Have
have
to
heard
watch.
about this murder, though. It was a long time ago, but how can you look your children in the eyes
And give them
poison?
candy on Halloween.
Literally. And give out the cyanide pixie sticks to random children that aren't your own. What goes through your brain? Like, and I just, can you imagine being the sister to Timothy? Elizabeth, and
not eating the pixie stick.
but having your brother die and just living the rest of your life without your brother.
And knowing that you could have too.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that you could have. That just, I have no words. He truly did ruin Halloween, didn't he?
Yeah. And that's why I think nowadays you have to make sure that, you know, there's no drugs or anything, like making sure that the candy is sealed completely and making sure that no kids are given like pills with their Skittles or whatever. Like, it's just, it's sad that you have to worry about that nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's fucking Candyman.
Yep. That reminds me a lot of, I think it was the Tylenol killer. I believe like back in the 80s maybe, he put cyanide in Tylenol. We'll have to cover that. We could cover that in another episode.
Should we kind of talk about what our like next few episodes are maybe gonna be about?
Sure. Yeah.
So our next episode 2, is going to be about demons. But go into the origin of demons and kind of
the different demons.
Yeah, different kinds of demons. Probably talk about the 7 princes of hell. And then kind of go into some dark demon stories.
And maybe just touch on our beliefs or thoughts or curiosities about demons in general.
Because we conversated about it like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Was it 2 days ago? And like what we kind of think of demons.
Yes. What they could be if they actually
Which
aren't.
is probably different than what a lot of people may.
Right.
I mean, I hope a lot of people other view the same as us. But
yeah. No, I think it's good to bring new ideas to the table too.
But
anyway,
thank you guys.
Thank you for listening or watching.
This is Father, Son, and the Holy Sisters taking back the Holy Trinity.
Thank you. And if you've stayed this long for our wild ride.
Thank you. I love you. See you next time.